Okay, the recording started. All right. If you joined after I said it before, if you could put into the chat what organization you're with, that just helps us to know what ministry leaders we have and who we have from OE-CASEL and other CCR&Rs. So glad you're here, Nikki. And all right. Because, you know, it's one of those days. We're in the middle of finishing up our annual review with our consultant. And so when Lisa finishes up and signs off the paperwork with her, she'll come in and she can take notes, but she's here doing her job, Kareem. So we're breaking her in, a new consultant for us. So
I'm so glad to hear that.
Because why not put it all in one day, right? Yeah. So, I know Pam's joining late. Is there someone else from OE-CASEL who would like to start by giving any kind of updates from your site?
I have that. This is Edley Woodruff. I'm the regional manager for the Northwest area. And I'm going to share my screen. Can you see it?
I can. Thank you.
Okay. So our presentation today, our count number for unlicensed registered ministries is 758. That's a total capacity of 60,228. We currently have 57 proposed, and month ending, we've opened 7 and we've closed 3. So we do have some new consultants. We have Ann Huff, who's in the Northwest area, and Jessica Canerva. Is that right, Kareem? I hope. And she's in the Southwest area of the state. So we just wanted to let you know that on our complaints, we did some adjustments to those. And the new procedure and timeline is some of our complaints will actually be a 2-day to a 5-day. We still have the 30-day complaint. We do have 45-day complaints, and there may be something that comes up that we would actually call and do a desk review for a complaint. So a little bit different than what we've been doing in the past. Okay. So, Laura, I'm assuming that your voting members have to do the ethic training. Is that correct?
Yes, I sent that out on the email, and I figured we could touch base on that today as well.
Okay. So this is just the general information about the ethics training.
Will you be able to share this PowerPoint with us so that we can have that information? Or I think though I sent out, at least on the email that I sent, had the link for it.
Yeah, I can put the link in the chat if you want me to.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay. If anyone needs to contact the state fire marshal's office, there's an email address, childcare and ministries at dhs.in.gov. So they just wanted us to share that with you. If you have a weather closing, we would really like for you to contact your licensing consultant. However, you can send an email to the OE CASEL provider inquiry at fssa.in.gov and leave a message there, and they will make sure that the licensing consultant knows that you've been closed for possible bad weather. Hopefully, none of us have to do that for a few more months. So this is a link, and I can put this link in the chat too. Oh, I think Elizabeth's helping me with that. Thank you, Elizabeth. If you're interested in reviewing our Child Care and Development Fund Plan, the CCDF plan for the state of Indiana for the 2025-2027 years, it is posted on the website, and Pam had added the website to this, and I think Elizabeth will add it in the chat for me.
And with that, what would we be signing up to do?
It's just the plan. So if you wanted to go in and read what the state of Indiana is stating that the goals that we have for the next couple of years, that's where you would go and read that information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. And sorry, there's a recording on this PowerPoint. So I think it ends there. So there is a question that Pam and Tequila wanted us to throw out to you guys. And it's, do you have things that you would like OE CASEL to consider as they are doing rule reform? So if you would want to email Laura or Lisa, and they could send them on to Pam, or email Pam with anything that you would like to see in the upcoming rule reform.
Okay. And I think that's kind of what we left our discussion to be today.
Okay.
Is to talk about that question and one other that Tequila and Pam had asked us about. So, yeah.
Okay. The only other thing Pam wanted to make sure was brought up is that there will be a new invite coming out for the 2025 meeting dates. And those months are February, May, August, and November. And
Thank you, Edley.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else from OE CASEL? All right.
Laura, I have a quick question. Yes. I don't know if you can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
If we want, I really want to get us official on the books. If I meet with a representative, I have to get them to put it into legislation. Is that what I need to do, so that a registered ministry is, maybe they'll do a, sponsor a bill that says that, and then it gets put into law, and then we're official? Or is that what I need
official
to do?
On the books? Can you explain a little bit more, Jean?
I think this is for OE CASEL. So you know how registered ministries are not, we're not written into, yeah, like law, like the licensed are and stuff, and we're not recognized. I think that's the word I want, right? By the state. So what I need a representative or someone to write a bill that says we'd like to put you in, and then, because we had that before and it was just voted down. I guess I really don't remember what happened. I know we worked really hard for a long time, and then now, we haven't tried it again. So I'm thinking maybe 2025 is our year. But I need to know what to do.
There's someone from OECASL who could answer Jean's question.
So I know what it is that you were asking, Jean. It's definitely something that we can elevate to our leadership as a discussion point, and we'll circle back around with Laura to get you a final answer on what that would look like.
Okay.
Thank you, Corinne. All right, so Pam had sent me 2 questions that she would like some feedback on, and so I figured if we're going to have the meeting, we might as well talk about it. So the first one being, as we think about this group for next year, how do we see the advisory boards working with ELAC? So I thought we would pose that question to this group, and I've often wondered what is the difference between the advisory groups and ELAC and what ELAC is doing compared to what we are supposed to be doing, because I've never had a clear view. But so if someone can tell me what the difference is supposed to be, unless, yeah, others might be more aware than I am. Does ELAC, do they oversee like homes, ministries, and license centers? And then we're broken down into smaller. Are other people confused like I am over what ELAC does?
Laura, are you directing the question towards OECASL?
Well, I think the how we see the advisory boards working together should be ministry directors possibly answering that, but maybe if OECASL can help us navigate what the differences are supposed to be or are or should be, that would be helpful in starting the conversation. And from what I'm seeing, I know there's at least 4 directors on here. And almost everybody else is either CCR&R or OECASL. So, yeah. Did any of the directors understand the differences better than I do? All right. Well, Kareem, can you tell us kind of what ELAC does compared to what we're supposed to be doing, or are these some things we need to be looking at?
So ELAC is a group that was actually appointed, or an agency, let's call them, that was actually appointed by the governor. That comes out of the governor's agenda. And the purpose of that group is to meet with your various auspices, let's say, and various auspices providers, people within the community, and to then be able to bridge that gap between what be able to bridge that gap between what the let's see, the constituents wants and the agendas and the agency's agendas. Does that make sense? We're all working together, really. So it is a special group that is appointed by the governor, or a special office that's appointed by the governor. Does that help you in order to be able to answer the question that was posed?
Yeah, but I guess then what kind of hope would ELAC have in working with us? Or are we looking at maybe kind of combining the advisory teams in with ELAC? Do we have purposes for are there two different ppurposes?
I don't believe that there are two different purposes. I think that we all have the same mission, right? Health and safety of the children, but how do we bridge that? So ELAC, I would say, would be your bridge between FSSA, let's say, and the provider. How do we meet in the middle? Let's say, for example, you've been having conversations for years about ratio. I'm just throwing that out as an example. Ratio. How do we take what you can't just say, well, I just don't want there to be any ratio, or I think it's feasible for someone to watch 10 babies at one time. How do we bridge that gap? And so, like, I would say that I view ELAC as your liaison, your mediary in between.
Okay. So then it seems to me then our first question
linked like ELAC's official definition in the chat so you guys can see what that is. And then I can also link their recommendations. So that might help you get an idea of what they do and what they're working on. So you could look at their recommendations that they're sending or that they have, and then decide, as a group, how you feel about their recommendations and their priorities, and then, anything you'd like to collaborate or contribute to anything that they have. But
I think then maybe going to the second question of the day, which is the one that Edley posed too, was do we have things going forward that we like OE CASEL to consider as we're doing rule reform? So if we had some things that we would like to work on for 2025, like Jean's brought something up, and then using ELAC as that bridge, is that what I'm hearing?
ELAC has put out recommendations for rule reform too, so you could look at what they have put out and then
and see if that coincides with exactly what you're looking for. Maybe there's some other issue that they are not addressing currently that maybe you think is of importance.
Right. Well, Jean has brought up one thing that she would like us to kind of look into 2025.
Yeah, I'd have to look through their recommendations and see what, it looks like we need some time to read through their stuff. Maybe something's in there. I don't know.
Absolutely.
And is that is also when you go to that recommendation site, does it also have who's on that committee?
The ELAC homepage that I linked, it'll show you who the members are and when the meetings are, and their meetings are recorded so you can view any of the meetings that they've had.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Do any of the other directors have anything that they would like us to look into for 2025 or some discussions? So I mean, as I said, we're completing our annual review this morning. And so I've spent some time with our new consultant. And one of the things that we've talked about, because she's looking at our ministry today, but we also have a licensed center. And so talking back and forth between what's required of our licensed center versus what's required of our ministry. And she was bringing up some hopes that maybe soon things would be streamlined a bit. I was curious what other directors felt, how they felt about that, about whether or not other people think that more of the same standards need to be streamlined in as what licensed centers have. I'm going to have a big feel for that. Jennifer or Nikki, Jean, I think the four of us are the only directors. And if I'm missing another director that I haven't written down, please let me know. But what are your thoughts for 2025 and regulations? Anything?
Well, this is Jennifer, I'm sorry. We are just entering Paths to Quality and just went through the VCP process. And in the middle of that, we got a new consultant and all the new things. Our ministry has been in existence for over 30 years, but it seems like, joining Paths to Quality and doing VCP, those are the right things to do. But I think sometimes they make them so very hard that it puts us in overwhelm. I think that everything could be streamlined to be so much easier than what it is with someone just joining the process and going through all of that. The checklist is good, but it is so magnanimous. By the time you get to level 3, you're just like, oh my gosh, what did I just read? It's so much.
Yeah, I saw your comment. She said she wants to look over the plan as well. It's a lot. And I mean, one of the things that, I think has to be talked about at some point soon is the more that we expect more out of our staff, more and more all the time. And we do want what's best for children, no doubt. And our staff deserve more than what we're even giving them now. But it's a business or a ministry that it's hard to sustain on its own if you're trying to keep it affordable for your families, but have livable wages for your staff, plus all of the extra things. And I don't know where everybody else stands, but I know we have less students this year because we had to close a pre-K class, not having enough students for the first time in a while to fill all those pre-K classrooms, because they can go for free pre-K in IPS these days. And so just talking down the road about like, how do you add more things and more expectations, but then yet financially it's stressful to keep it viable. I think that's got to be part of the conversation going forward too. Although I super appreciative of the work that OE Costal's done since the pandemic and making sure that CCDF funds and the different stimulus money has helped keep us going and helped us to push forward with our staff and that support. I don't know if other people are feeling that pressure as well. All right. So, something put in chat. Jennifer, we're having the same conversations with our church as well. So we've been here for 28 years. I know East 10th and Charity, we all started in 1996 around the same time. So here in Indianapolis. So we've all been around a long time like you all have. And it's hard. The budgeting process right now, and that being on our brains because it's budgeting time for next year for all of us. It's a difficult time.
Hey, Jennifer, your comment in there, like the church could be closing or you could be closing.
We were with the United Methodist Church, and they disaffiliated, and the disaffiliation process took longer for them, and they lost about 90% of their membership while
wow.
we are full downstairs.
Right.
The childcare ministry is full. Their membership dropped like 90%. So they want literally their stipend that they would like for us to provide to them is 472% more than what we are currently paying. And I'm just trying to budget this, with the increases going to Paths to Quality and trying to increase wages and be able to recruit and retain my staff. We tried to hit better levels of wages, and then to be hit with this on top of it, I'm telling you, it's hard.
Yeah.
Jean's your gal. You have anything to say, Jean? Does it sound familiar to you at all? Am I putting you on the spot, Jean?
What was that, Laura?
I said, I feel like you could be her gal. You, it sounds familiar to me, that her story.
I'm kind of going to helps, but I'm still missing some things.
Okay.
So we actually, we've been here, the whatever it is, 29 year, and our church, your ministry of the church, and they actually do not worship here anymore. Now, prior to that, though, we had already been kind of paying all the utilities and doing all the things. So it wasn't that dramatic for us financially, I guess, when they closed. But I understand what you're saying, but we kind of had a few years because they were really, really, really struggling, and I mean, we need things to happen, so we were kind of took over the building operations, I guess, if you will, and then before they closed, we were able to turn the building over to us, so we own it with a lot of worry at having a 1911 building that needs lots of upkeep, but we are making it work. And have you tried for some of the grants that are out there for, gosh, I guess I don't know what, so they want you to pay more of the utilities and more of the things you're saying?
As far as I'm aware, there are no grants available to ministries at this time. My hope was to, you know, the CCDF for employees. I was kind of standing on a wire there, hoping, a lot of our new hires do have children, and it turns out that we pay them just enough to not qualify. So then, if you make them pay for their children, then you're going to lose the employee.
And staffing is,
The whole thing is hard because people want to get paid more, but then they lose things when you
And I'm just asking, has any
you pay more, which is what
ministries-
everyone wants, but then you're losing.
We haven't had anyone even qualify for the employee CCDF.
I just have 3 staff who've just now started turning in their paperwork, so we're still figuring that out. We're in the process. We're learning as we go. I have several more, but I started with a few, and then we'll add more to it as we go. But I do have a
Was my
couple of
understand-
employees that already had CCDF. Okay. It sounds like we all need to do some research between now and to find out about regulations that are already being pushed forward. Unless anybody else has any other suggestions that they want us to start doing some research about. I think one of my questions for the new year, which was the same question I had last year, and I don't feel like, although I feel like we have more and more people on our meetings, we still don't have many directors. And I'm still trying to figure out, like, what does it mean for one of them to be an official part of the advisory group? And then when I send out emails to the people that I have on the list that I kind of inherited, most of those people don't work at the places anymore, or the emails are bouncing back. And so how do we get this to be a group that is active in doing the work that needs to be done? Is kind of one of my questions for the new year. And so how do we get more more directors involved?
Do you feel that that's something that licensing can help you with emails to ministries? I know that, I mean, we could search, but I'm sure that the email that I receive is probably forwarded to me from a past director.
Okay. Yeah. And your tiny treasures?
God's Bright Treasures.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure that, yeah, if you could put your email in the link, I'll be glad to add your email to that. That would be helpful. I mean, at one of our meetings, some of the CCR&R people said that they would reach out as they're going around. Is that something consultants can ask people if they want to be a part of, or is that asking too much? And then, yeah, how do we know how many people? I think when I read the bylaws again this past couple of weeks in preparation, it was like so many people from different parts of the state. And we have 3 of us from Indianapolis and 1 person from Southeast Indiana. So how do we make sure that we have people from different parts of the state on here? That question goes to any of you that have some ideas that can help me, because
I'm Jill Harrison, and I'm from Building Blocks. I'm CCR&R, which I'm a program resource navigator. And I know that I can send out things to all the registered ministries. I still get things bumped back to me because a lot of times the registered ministries do not update their programs. And so we do have, we'll get some that are, no longer the director of the because since that program, the directors change, the program stays. We have a lot of, that kind of problem, but I mean, I'm willing to, which I have done, is mention this, advisory board. And a lot of registers ministry directors don't even know anything about it. I think they're very busy. I was a registered ministry director for a very long time. And I mean, I thought I was on top of everything because I was past the quality level 4 and all this stuff. But, I didn't know of the advisory board. So I think maybe if there's a way that, because I'm in the southern part of the state, I work mainly southeast or southwest. But I mean, I'm willing to do what I can do to, get that out. And now I see someone from another part. Yeah.
Yeah, I work in the northern part, the northeastern part of the state. But our SDA covers from west to east. So Jane and I work together, and we would be happy to push anything out. I don't know if that means sending us like information exactly what you want us to send to registered ministries, and we can share that with anybody that's in our SDA. And there are 5 SDAs. Jill and I just covered 2 of them. So I think Jill and I could speak for Jill that we'd be glad to share that information out with the other program resource navigators within the state and see if they would share that out with their ministries as well.
Well,
hello, my name is Sophia Sanchez, and I also work with Jill and Tanya, but I work on the northern, like top part of Indiana. So we cover Lake, we cover Porter, LaPorte, St. Joe, and we will definitely be more than happy to help you pass that information along. I do agree, ministry sometimes is hard to get out there, but it's just because I do feel that they do not know. So the information that you give us, we will gladly be willing to pass it on for you.
Okay,
for sure.
Thank you. All right. Well, one thing that we now know is those of us who are on the committee have to take this ethics class before December 6th. So the 4 directors who are on here, or 3 besides myself, did you all get that link out of the chat or from my email that I sent earlier? Do you have any questions about that? I believe you need to email me before the 6th to tell me that you've taken it so that I can then, or no, before December 4th. So that I can relay to Pam all of the names of those who have taken it. Any questions about that? I think. I think this is it. I think I'm putting the right training down here. I'm copying it and pasting it for you, Jennifer. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Laura, I want to share something with,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really feeling for Jennifer over here. So I wanted to share something the way it was kind of, we looked at it here was, when we first started all those years ago, we were the child and the church was the parent, and they were helping us. And then the child got older and then the parent needed help. And so we, we're doing our best, I guess, to take care of them. And I know I'm going to try to find, I don't know. I mean, I don't know your situation. I don't know your budget. I don't know any of these things, but it's got to be some ways we can help keep you going over there. So
I just feel like the church is disconnected and they don't really know the daycare side of things. They're proceeding as a business, and of course, yes, we are a business, but the amount of money that they asked from us would increase every child's tuition weekly $17.38 a week. And I physically cannot, I just cannot ask our families to do that. I just can't.
And are most of your families private pay, or do you have a lot of CCDF?
We are mostly private pay.
Okay. Because because if you had CCDF families, I mean, the state has obviously done great things to help increase those prices. And
right, and I agree, but we are not, like, when I look at CCDF reimbursement rates and such, and we, like I said, we entered past equality and our plan is to go to level 3 very quickly. We're already prepared to do that. But the reimbursement rates in our area versus Indianapolis, it's ridiculous, the difference of reimbursement rate. And I get that, but I really don't believe that the cost of living in Indy is any different than we are so close to Cincinnati.
Where are you exactly?
We're right on the southeast Indiana corner of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.
Okay.
The Lawrenceburg area.
Right.
And those rates are similar? Is that what you're charging for your private pay families?
Are like in the next city over, they are charging $375 a week for infant care. And we are charging $274. And I mean,
have you considered a sliding scale? It was a game changer. It took us a long time. It took us a long time to buy into that. And our friend Jean encouraged us a lot too in that. We've learned a lot from Jean through the years, and it's a game changer.
So based on income?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I know. But will you put your email in the link?
Jennifer? Sure. I believe that it's coming to me.
Okay, good.
I'm not sure because I get everyone from the past email too.
Okay. All right. I was just trying to figure out who from the past would have been the email that.
It would have been Marianne Cannon or Sheila Henderson. Those are the only two directors, and I worked with Sheila when Sheila worked here. I mean, I go back to 2006.
Okay. All right. Oh, I got it. Thank you.
And then I'll do that training, and then if you shoot me an email, then I will respond to you that I've taken it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else we need to discuss today? If you all can look over ELAC's plan, Nikki and Jean and Jennifer, and send me any thoughts or ideas that we can share with Keela or Pam on regulations for 2025, or any of them that you really want us to have a better conversation about and be prepared for in February. But unless there's something else for this meeting today, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Does anyone have anything else? Okay. Well, Jennifer, we are really glad you came to this meeting, and I think I know I have found great support in my friends Jean and Nikki, who are on this call as well. And if there's ways that we can encourage you and support you, then I think that's another benefit of these kinds of meetings, and getting to meet one another across the state and looking, maybe I'm hoping our friends from OECOS have heard you say that maybe looking at rates at some point of the differences between that, the cost of living in Southern Indiana versus Indy. And I know that's a longer process than one meeting or one discussion, but I'm hopeful that that's been heard as well. And through all of the struggles of early childhood ministries, with working with young children, from troubles to having staff, to budgeting problems and concerns, I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that we are in a season of Thanksgiving, and that there are so many things to be grateful for right now. And so I am grateful for this opportunity to meet with all of you, and thankful, and I'm hopeful even through the hardships for the year to come. So last call, and I will say, everyone have a happy Thanksgiving, a very Merry Christmas, or a Happy New Year, and we will see you in February, if not before.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Laura.
Yes.
I, of course, thought of a question, but I didn't want to bother everyone on here.